All right. Okay, guys. These are center ideas for the letter A sound. Again, the centers, my idea, this is how I think this is going to work the best, is you've got different tables with the different things on them. This is not a time for, there are 2 teachers in the classroom, and this is not a time to be sitting and observing. The entire centers is meant for a teacher, the 2 teachers to be walking around and interacting with the kids and teaching. So as the kids are interacting with the particular tables, I want you guys to be interacting with the kids. And let's just walk through that really quick. You can, I think this would be really fabulous every time you're introducing a letter sound. I found this in our thing and I thought, what could I do with it other than throw it away? It's like a laminated little apple. And I thought, you know what I would do? Is I would have the kids, I would pull the kids over one at a time. Again, remember those lists we talk about in the back of those things where you have the kids, letter A or something like that. Just make a list. And so you know that you've reached every kid. And I would write a lowercase letter A onto this with a lighter color. I did orange because it kind of barely shows up. I know you guys can't see this very well, but it barely shows up on the apple. And then I would show the kids as maybe Libby, can you come over and just come over my shoulder? So I would have the child with you right here, and you're like, all right, we're gonna write a letter A, and you're gonna show them. So you're gonna start and go, okay, it's like writing the letter C. We're gonna go around, up, and down. Okay, did you see that? Now I'll help you. I want you, so then the child has the black, and say, now remember, we push lightly. If we push too hard, this will squish up into there and we'll have to throw it away. So we don't want that to happen. So you're gonna do a dot and say, this is where you start, okay? Now here you go. You're gonna follow me. Trace around, good, up. Now come down, yep, come down, around, up and down, just like that, perfect. And then you guys can go ahead and just erase that off. And just have every kid do that 2 or 3 times for that first time. Oh, and I would say, make this sound while they're doing it. Ah, good job, that's the letter A, it says ah, say it with me, ah, good, around, up, and down, good, excellent, okay. So, here are some ideas for center activities. First off, we have our apple poppers, super easy, you know, just fun little thing. We have our apple poppers. If you want to make a little bit more out of that, well, I wouldn't. I would just have your apple poppers over there. And then we have alligators. So we have all these cute little alligators. They're fun by themselves, but not super fun unless you add something in with them. A little green Play-Doh might be nice. Brown Play-Doh would be cool. If you're going to do alligators with Play-Doh, 1 color of Play-Doh is all you need. Just stick with 1 color because there's going to definitely be mixing and they're playing in them. They also would go well with the kinetic sand if you're doing that. Now, if you are putting Play-Doh in the hex tray, I want to tell you it's going to get a greasy film on the bottom of the hex tray. Totally fine, totally normal, but you do have to wash it with a little dish soapy rag at the end of each day. Otherwise, that Play-Doh grease and the next thing you put in is going to get that picked up. And it could be the kinetic sand. And the kinetic sand is awesome because it doesn't dry out and whatever, but it can get sticky and it's not fun. So I want you to make sure that after sand, after whatever, at the end of each day that you're getting a soapy rag and getting that hex tray wiped out, especially if you're going to do the thing where we write the letter sounds in the liquid chalk marker in the bottom of the hex tray and have the kids use the soft rocks or even jewels to like go around and put on the letters. That's going to have to be a clean tray. So I need that to be happening, okay? Anyways, yeah, alligators with kinetic sand, alligators with Play-Doh, maybe add in a little bit of the stones with it if you want. You could do blue Play-Doh and tell them, because alligators swim in the water, that could be fun. So alligators. And then we have our ants. You know what? Same thing. So we've got our fun little ants here. And they actually, this is so funny, but so like they have these pokey things in them because they're meant for like, I don't know, a picnic and you can put grapes on them or something silly. Is that weird? But anyway, so there's your ants. And those are really fun for the kids to play with too. And again, if you're doing it on the table, and it could be in the hex tray, but you could also do it on the table. You're just gonna want a tray, specific trays that are set out, our tins or our flat trays, and then some kinetic sand, a scoop on each one, or a scoop of Play-Doh, whatever it is you want to do. Play-Doh is kind of fun because you can teach them to roll balls with it, and then they can stick it on the ant's back, and it's like the ant is carrying the food. That's really fun. So I will say right here, I'm just gonna show you something. Come in close, Liddy. I see that these have been played with the kinetic sand. That's awesome, except for, and I know that when we had just one teacher in the art room, you know, it was like all hands on deck and we were throwing things in. But now I think since we have two, we can be a little bit more particular about making sure that these get fully, like, okay, this particular ant came from a different ant bin, I can tell, than these ones that have the things, because it's stuck inside. And you do need to kind of get like a toothpick or something and try to get that out. Or we need to very specifically say, these kind of ants without the pokers in the top are for the sand, and the pokers on the top ones, because they have no chance of getting that stuff stuck on them, will be the ones for the Play-Doh, because nobody wants kinetic sand mixed into the dough. So there are a different kind of ant without the things on the back. We'll say those are the sand ants, and the others are the Play-Doh ants. Okay, guys? So we have ants. Let's talk about the Play-Doh really quick. So I think it's really fun if you do red and green, but you have to talk to your kids and you have to keep your eye on this, okay? Smells like cherry, smells like what? Water smelling is the name of this one. They're so delicious. So I talk to the kids. Kids, today I am gonna trust you with something we haven't done before, and that is 2 different colors of Play-Doh. Now, just a heads up, this one smells so delicious like cherries. This one smells like watermelons. And the colors are so pretty, aren't they, right? Okay, now in order to keep the smell and the colors pretty, you cannot mix these 2 colors together, because once you do, it makes kind of a yucky color. It's still fun to play with, but it's not as pretty, and the smell is weird when you mix these together, guys. So when I put a red one on this tray here and a green one on this tray here, and I expect that the green one stays in this tray and the red one stays in this tray, okay? If I catch that they're getting mixed together, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna take away one of the colors, okay? So it's no big deal, and I'll just know that we're not ready yet. We will be ready later, but right now we'll know we're not ready for 2 colors. But if you guys think we're ready for 2 colors, let's do this, okay? And teachers, you have to stay on top of that, okay? Because the kids, they don't mean to, but they forget, they get whatever, you know, but we're teaching them to keep it into one tray. On a hex tray, I would never put multiple colors of Play-Doh, never. Okay, I said never. The last week of school, when all the Play-Dohs just hashed to heck and whatever, and we're gonna throw it all away anyway, fine. And then I would make a deal of it and say, guys, guess what? We're gonna do something crazy. And I would just dump them in there and let the kids mix to their heart's content. But we are otherwise never putting multiple colors of Play-Doh together in the hex tray. Okay.
If they have toys that they're all sharing between the Play-Dohs, you can just show them to check it before they put it back in the middle for everyone else to share. And if
that
there's green on it,
exactly
pull
right.
it off.
Because you will notice that that's how it actually gets mixed. The kids don't mean to the most. I mean, every once in a while you're gonna have a kid, that usually a 3-year-old, who's like, whatever, you know. But with the older kids, they don't mean to, it is. So I would, again, visually show them. Say, okay, so, you know, rolling out the dough. Sorry, I forgot the rollers. Rolling out the dough. We're getting our little apple cutter here. So I'm gonna show you that that's something you can do. And you've got your apple cutter here and there, whatever. And then, okay, let's pretend that some got stuck and stayed on it. So I'm showing the kids. See how that stuck and stayed on it? Now, if I share this with my friend who has the green Play-Doh, what's gonna happen when she uses it? It's gonna get mixed, isn't it? So, if you're the friend that's sharing or the friend that's being shared with, I want you to go, oh, there's a little bit of red, and you give it back over to the red one. You guys gotta pay attention to that, okay? I know we get excited, but I want you to pay attention so that little bits of the colors don't go back and forth, okay? We can do it. I've seen my kids from last year do it, so I know that you guys can do it. I just am not sure if you're ready for it yet, but we're gonna watch and see how it goes, okay? So So that's what you're doing there. So, and then the first time that they're rolling out and learning to use the apple cutters or any kind of cutters, you're gonna teach them that they do it and then pull away the outside of it. They don't know that at first, so they'll try to dig in it and they'll get ruined. So you're just teaching them. We're right at the beginning of the year, just kind of teaching what our expectations are. You can't expect something that you haven't conveyed to them. And most of the time, if you've just conveyed it in words, it's not enough. You have to show them. You have to show them an example, okay? So you're gonna show them an example of what to do, and you can even show them an example like I did of what not to do, or we almost mixed the colors, okay? And again, just keeping it on the tray. Another thing I love when I'm teaching Play-Doh, since it's the beginning of the year, I'm just gonna go ahead and teach you this. I teach the kids, you're gonna teach them to roll balls, okay? So you are gonna teach them to roll balls in their hands, like you're rolling a ball in your hand. A lot of kids will love to do this, and a lot of kids will love for you to do that for them. So again, you get it in there and you help them roll that ball. And then another thing that's important to teach them, and I'll tell you why in just a second, is to roll, we're rolling, I say a snake, we're rolling a snake or a worm. That's what I do. And we get one hand and then two hands, and we're rolling that snake, rolling that worm, just like that. That's a couple of skills you really want to teach them right at the beginning, rolling the balls, rolling the snakes. And rolling the snakes is going to just bring me into the next thing that we have for a project, which is our letter mats. These are our Play-Doh mats. And so if you can teach them right at the beginning to roll those snakes, then you are going to be well on your way to the next part, which is taking these and putting them around the letters. Does that make sense? Like that. And yeah, like with the A, you're actually probably going to need a couple, right? So you're going to make a C, and then you're going to roll a nice long one there and put it on there, and now you have the letter A. A says, what does it say? Ah. Again, that's what the teacher's going around kind of talking. Oh, look at that, you've got our letter A. Ah. What are those in the background? Apples. What color are they? Green, that's right. Have you ever tasted a green apple? Okay, yeah. They're a little bit different tasting than the red apples. Has anyone here ever seen a yellow apple? They have them, they're called Yellow Delicious. So anyways, just things like that. You're just going around doing that teaching while Centers is happening. And I know up to this point, it's kind of just been teaching them tips and tricks, or keeping them from taking things from table to table, things like that. But from here on out, like, this is kind of a big deal. Centers time is not just kind of a filler time for the kids to be playing at all. This is learning through play, which is what I'm excited about. So we have those letter mats. We have lowercase, every letter of the alphabet, uppercase, every letter of the alphabet, and something that is like A is for apples, B is for
beads.
Beads. I know, I'm like, what? Beads. C is for candy. D is for, oh, a dog. So anyways, yeah, that kind of a thing. We have large letter mats right here with the lowercase and the uppercase on them, and they of course have different things, zippers and zebras, and then you're making that sound with them as you're doing it. If they've learned the letter, at the point that the older kids are learning the letter A, I believe they've already learned the letter C, and then it's A next. So then you can have A and C out on the table because they've already learned two. Does that make sense? And once they've done T, which I think is next, then it's A, C, and T, and you can bring those things together on a table. Okay, there's another thing that I think is fun with Play-Doh. If you're the teacher, you can prep this. So you're rolling little balls, putting them in there. Again, this is an important thing to why we want to teach the kids to be able to roll the balls, so that at some point they can do this themselves and it's not something you have to prep for them. So take time with each one of the kids and teach them to roll those balls, okay? So roll, 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 roll. So you get a ball in each one. So pretend I've got a ball in each one. And then we have, so they're in these right here. These are our letter stampers. We have a lowercase and an uppercase bag. And then you can go and find the uppercase letter A and the lowercase letter A. And when the kids have made their fun little balls in here, then they can just come in here and stamp that letter A. And there they have A. And then again, we're talking A says ah, good job. Oh, I did that one upside down, so let's do it like this. Good job, you guys. Okay, and so then you're just having those on the thing, and that's something fun that they can do. And then they can take it off and roll the ball fresh again. Does that make sense? And again, once you've learned 2 or 3 or 4 letter sounds, like I probably would max it at 3 letter sounds at a time. You can get the C, A, and T out, and then you're talking about, you know, the different sounds. And when you are coming over and they're doing it and just playing or whatever, you say, what was that? Good job, that's A. A is for A. What? T, T, T. Good, that's our ticking clock sound. So I think that could be a really fun thing you guys can do, okay? Oh, another, I didn't pull them out, but let's look at these. These are our lacing alphabet. We have lowercase and we have uppercase. We keep them separate. When Livy and I were getting these out, I wanted to show you something horrible, and it's this, where they've laced it on and tied knots in the end. That's fine, I shouldn't say it's horrible, but it's kind of horrible because it's not easy. But you get them undone. When these are being cleaned up, you can talk to the kids a little bit in advance and say, okay guys, I need you to start taking them off now. And then teach the kids, because they'll pull and they'll get kind of caught right on that little end, and then teach them to push it through, okay? Better them than you. But these need to be undone. For the most part each time, okay? So it's okay to leave 1 or 2 on maybe, but we're not doing the whole thing, and you're not leaving them all done. It doesn't make it quite as fun for the next people who are coming along. And when I'm a teacher, let me just tell you, I sometimes like to go and just grab some out. Well, today I could not find any lowercase letter A's because they were all stuck on a string, and so this is another thing when you're doing Play-Doh at the table and you're doing those little balls maybe, or just even just...
They have little holes in them. If the Play-Doh gets in it, they won't be able to lace anymore.
Well, okay, Livy is correct. They do have holes in them and they can get Play-Doh in them. Just a little something. One thing you can do to mitigate that's kind of, Livy's already hating me, I can tell as a teacher, but I think it's fun for them, and it's another way for them to stamp letters in the Play-Doh. But again, right at the beginning, we play the go slow to go fast game. We have in all of the cupboards toothpicks, and I think that it's completely fine at the end. Again, don't wait. Make it part of the, like, guys, we're gonna be cleaning this table up, so what I need you guys to do is take these little toothpicks. This is so good for their fine motor anyway, and while the Play-Doh is wet, it will work. And have them poke through the hole to get the Play-Doh out, and then there you go, okay? Again, it's something that you have to think of. You have to know ahead of time that you're gonna do that. But I think that these are fun with the Play-Doh. You can get the upper and lower case. Now, another thing you can do with them that's not Play-Doh related, Livy, come closer to me really quick. It's not Play-Doh related, so it doesn't need to go out on the Play-Doh, but let's say you have these and you have our little, I use these for patterning, right? So they could go uppercase A, lowercase a, uppercase A, lowercase a. So that's kind of a patterning thing, right? Or they could just do all the uppercase on the top and all the lowercase on the bottom. Just there you go. Yeah, there's all kinds of things they can do. You as a teacher, if you wanted to prep it, you could go ahead and just take our Sharpie markers and you could write a few upper and lower and see if they can get them to match on there. Does that make sense? Now that I've just written on this in our Expo marker, I know I keep calling them Sharpies, guys, but now that I've written in our dry erase, I'm kind of regretting it and thinking that I would do that with our crayons, our dry erase crayons, because they wash off so much easier. So learn from my little mistake right there, do it with the dry erase crayons ahead of time, and then yeah, the kids can go ahead and match those up. So that could be a center that's happening at one of the tables, okay? I think that that would be a really, really fun one. And I'm gonna tell you right now that I've never done it before. I just made it up in my head when I was out looking and all the things. So once you get yourself familiarized with all the things, your brain will automatically do that too. It'll just be like, oh, I never thought of that before, but here's a great idea. I mean, I took this from the dinosaur thing where I have the little dinosaur erasers, right? So, and then just a couple more things. These are good for all the ages, 3-year-olds especially. These are our little lacing apples, got a little worm on there. So we have our little apple lace ups. This is really good for their fine motor skills, right? And the worm is going in. There's our apples, it's green leaf, we have a couple of those. I would probably put those out on the table at the same time as the poppers. So you've got kind of two things at the table there. And then, this is super fun. I'm making a big old mess over here, but let's pull up these fun little things. So right here, I've got these little mats that we've made, red, green, yellow. That's what the words say, and also the color of them. So this is a bit of a sorting activity. And there also is another mat that has pictures. And with this one, these are sizes, small, medium, and large. Again, they can't read, so you are going to be the one to be helping them with this. And you might point out, look, here's the smallest apples, the medium-sized apples, and the large apples, okay? And those are gonna be for our sorting. And that's gonna be in this little bin right here. And we have 3 different sizes. You have the small, and it's kind of tricky for them to see the coloring. There's a medium, or the size I should say, and there's a large. So I want you to show them and teach them that right up at the beginning, the first time they're playing with these. And then you're sorting. Okay, small ones go on the small. Medium goes on the medium. Large goes on the large. Or we have the other kind of sorting here. We have all the red ones go here. All the green ones can go here, and all the yellow ones go here. It doesn't matter the size. In this instance, we're sorting in colors. This is our, the word is escaping me. Attributes. So we're doing different attributes with the same pile of stuff. You have small, you have medium, you have large, you have red, you have green, you have yellow. Make sense? So you could even have, I don't have one made out, but if the kids want to make their own sorting thing, and you could show them how they could do apples with worms, apples without worms, apples with leaves, apples without leaves, because we've got a little mixture in there. So that's all kinds of different attributes that we have in there. These, if I remember right, were we just using these for like stress balls?
Yeah, they got taken away because they got thrown too much.
Oh, never. That would never happen. Yeah, because they're soft, you can see them throwing them as balls. But perhaps we shan't do that. I mean, you could make a game out of it. You could borrow the bin like this, and you could be like, okay, we want to throw the apples. Okay, we're not throwing them at each other. We're not doing this, but I'll take these, and when we go into the rug room, maybe we'll play a little game of toss. And you could dump out the bin and see if they could, or one of the bins or one of the things, and then have them step so many steps back onto the thing, and they could practice trying to get them into the thing. So again, with my if you can't beat them, join them kind of mantra, if they're going to be throwing things, say, look, I know throwing things is super fun, but this isn't the moment for it. But you know what? Teacher's pretty smart, and I can come up with a game where we can throw these apples. Are you excited about that? Okay, so we can't throw them in here at centers time, but I totally have a game ready in my mind, and we will take these into rug time. So I'm going to take them right now, and in rug time, we're going to play a game where we all get to throw an apple. Oh, I know. We'll talk about it later. So that's kind of fun for the kids. Okay, I think that for the letter A and centers, that's pretty much it. Again, we've got 2 teachers in there, so I just want you guys up on your feet, moving around from table to table. I mean, you can pull up a chair and join at a table, and then it's like you're in there playing with them too, and talking them through what's happening, that the apples are green and red and yellow, and you can tell them, ooh, I had a green apple. Do you know that they have a really funny name? Granny Smith. I know, isn't that silly, Granny Smith? And I don't know if you've ever tasted green apples, but they're a little more sour than the other apples. I kind of like them dipped in honey. You know, just talk them through things like that. And then, you know, at snack time, we are going to have different varieties of apples, and we're going to do little taste tests with them and encourage the kids to see if they can tell the difference, if they know what color they're tasting, because we probably maybe don't have the peels on them, so we're hiding them just to see if they know and they can guess which color they're tasting. Make sense? Or we can do on your whiteboard in the centers room that you guys have in there, you can graph. You can draw lines across the board and put red, yellow, and green, and then you can be like, okay, we're gonna take a poll, you know, who likes green, how many people like green apples the best, how many people like red, how many people like yellow, things like that, and then you can do like little graphs and things like that, or take little votes. Anyway, so many learning things are happening with our letter A. It's just crazy, right? We have colors and flavors and sizes, there's counting, there's patterning, just tons of stuff. And this is what I'm hoping happens with every centers that we're doing. So the kids, it's their hands-on, they're playing, but they're learning, and a lot of learning is happening by you just coming over their shoulder and commenting on what's happening at the table, and just bringing in some of your adult life experiences so that the kids are being exposed to the idea that different colors of apples have different flavors, and that there are different colors of apples growing on trees, and that, you know, just things like that. Okay,